Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Today we're going to be working with a brand new set or bundle, and it's called Light the Year, and it's this one right here. It does come bundled with stamps and dies. If you purchase them together, you save 10%. If you buy them separately, then it'd be 10% more than it would be if you bundled. So if you think you're going to want the dies, then go ahead and get them at the same time. That way you can save a little bit of money. I was playing around with this yesterday and I came up with this beautiful design. I thought that this is so pretty. Now, I have some flaws in this because I was trying a technique. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I did stamp another lantern. I had it here just a minute. Well, it'll turn up in a minute, I'm sure. But anyway, oh, here it is. It was under my scissors. I did this one and I actually stamped it in the black ink, and then I went back over it with the copper embossing powder. And I think it turned out good. My candle's not quite centered, but I'm gonna try something different with my candle. So let's get to work on this and see what we can come up with. This is basically just a guideline for me to go by. It doesn't mean that I'm going to stick to this. We're going to change it up a little bit. So first thing I want to do is go ahead and cut my card base. And I'm going to bring my trimmer down. And I want my card base to be the black. I think the black just gives a beautiful backdrop for everything else. So we're going to put it in and we're going to cut it on the 11-inch side on our long edge at 5.5. And that's going to give us a card base. We'll score that in a minute. Then I also want to cut a piece of this Designer Series paper. And this one comes from the Regal Winter. Let me show you this pack of paper because it is gorgeous. Now, these products are coming from the new mini catalog. This will go live for everyone on September the 3rd. As a demonstrator, I'm able to do a pre-order and get this beautiful product so I can work with it and hopefully bring you some inspiration ahead of time. Here's the piece I'm thinking of using, but look how gorgeous this paper is. It is stunning. This paper grabbed me right from the beginning. It's always exciting. I think the Christmas catalog is always one of the most exciting ones because we all love making Christmas cards. At least I think we do. But that is the pack of Designer Series paper. And I'm going to cut a piece off of this. It's already 4 inches. So I'm going to cut a piece that's 4 by 5.25. And that's going to be a mat for our cards. And let's bring up our piece of white. And I want to cut this in half because I want to do some stamping, but I want the piece to fit through my die cut machine. And this is the basic white thick. So I'm going to cut it at 5.5. I like doing that because if I don't have to go into this piece, I will have another card base. So that's the reason I like to cut piece off at 5.5. Please excuse my voice. It is very cracky this morning for some reason. But anyway, this is going to go on here. Something like that. I think like that. That looks like it's the right side up. Isn't that beautiful? This piece we're going to stamp on. But before we start stamping, let me get my scoreboard out because we are going to score this card base. And we are going to score it at 4.25. So this is my Simply Scored scoring tool. I'm going to bring it up and put it all the way up into this left top corner. And I'm going to come to 4 1/4 and just give it a good score. fold it. We'll burnish that in just a minute. Now we're going to move on to our stamping. So I'm going to bring this piece of white back over. I'm going to stack everything right over here, so I'll have everything together. And the first thing I want to do is I want to pull out my stamps. And this is the lantern that I want to use. And I'm going to stamp it in black. I'm not sure if I'm going to color this or not, but if I don't, I still want it in black. So I'm going to do that. I want a couple of my pine cones, and I need some of these greeneries, and I want to do several of those. And I need a bow and a candle. So those are going to be our components that we're going to stamp. So I know I want to do these in, I'm trying to think what colors did I use before. Pecan pie and I want to say early espresso. Let's try our pine cones first. And I'm going to stamp the solid piece in pecan pie. That's this one here. So let's pull up some stamp blocks, put these on. Just like that. And then these, I think we can get these on one block. Like that. And then we're going to get our little bow. Let's go ahead and pick up our, I need a bigger block for that. I think this one works better for the lantern. And then we need a small block for our candle. So now that we've got everything loaded up, we're ready to do our stamping. So I'm going to bring this back and I'm going to take my pecan pie and I'm going to ink up my pine cone and I'm going to stamp one. You know, you could get by with just that as your pine cone and not even go over it, but it is beautiful if you restamp it. So I need two of those. I've already put my thumb in my ink, so y'all know I can't stamp without getting messy. All right, so now let's try the early espresso with the detail. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. It just gives it depth and warmth. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, so we're done with our two browns. So I'm going to set my inks over to the side so I can remember which colors I used. And we are done with the pine cone. So let's do our candle and our bow. These I want to do out of red. So I think I'm going to choose the darker, and I'm going to choose cherry cobbler. So here is my candle. I'll do a couple of candles just in case I need to redo it. And then my bow. Okay, that's everything for red. Now we need our greens. And I'm going to grab two colors of green. I'm going to do Old Olive and Shaded Spruce. I think these two greens play well together. And I'm going to do Old Olive first. And grab these. I think that's good for that one. I'm going to bring over my stamp cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and wipe these off real quick. And I'm using my Stampin' Scrub. And I'm doing it off to the side so I don't have to move everything. And I'm just going to give these a quick rub so that the ink doesn't adhere to them too bad. And I'll give them a good thorough clean in a little bit. This one I definitely wanted to clean before I stamp it again. All right, so we have the Old Olive. Put that ink away, and now we're going to grab the Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to ink it up and stamp about here. Beautiful. And then the last thing that we need to stamp is our lantern. And I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black. And this already has a distressed look because you can see the way it inks, which makes this so pretty. And this one I may just leave it black and not do any other coloring over it. Let's see, put this right here. And we'll give it a good press, let that ink transfer. That is beautiful. All right, so now we have that done. All my stamps over to the side and out of our way. Now we need to do some die cutting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my dies. And I'm going to go ahead and fit my dies over all of the ones that I can cut. That I'm going to take out because I can cut all of this at one time, except this greenery right here. And this rincon. And one of the candles. Okay, those will cut separate. This way we can run through twice and get all of our die cuts. So I'm going to lay this on here. And I'm going to use my Post-it flags to pull these down. This way. I don't want to cover up what I need to cut over here. And I'm going to use more than one because I don't want this to slip as it goes through the machine. Now, oh, you know what? These don't cut. these do not cut, so I do need to cut those out. I'll have to fussy cut those. I don't know why they didn't put a die in there for those, but they didn't. That's okay. We'll fussy cut them. They're not hard to do. So we're going to end up cutting out quite a bit of this. And let's get our bow. And our pen printing. And then our candle. Now we are ready to go ahead and bring up our die cut machine. And I'm going to pull all of these over here. We will need to go back with these two pieces after we cut. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can better see what's going on. That right there. And this here. Put my cover plate over. And we're going to crank this all through. Just lay these over. So we'll take everything out after we get the other ones cut. So we need our pine cone die again. Line it up again. And we need our candles. We hold these up like this. It just gives me a better chance of getting them lined up nice and straight. I got all of my dies back where they belong. And now we need to fussy cut these. So I am going to start off by cutting them apart. And then I'm just going to go in and do some little wiggly cuts. That's a good thing about doing greeneries. You can just do little wiggly cuts in and out, and they'll look good. Around the other side and do the same thing. Like that. That didn't take long at all. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and we'll cut the rest of these out and we'll get right back together. Okay, now that we got this done, I'm going to trim. I think I'm going to use this candle because it cut better. This one looks like it went off the side a little bit, but we can trim that up in case we decide we want to use it. Just like that. And I think I'll trim my lantern just a little bit as well. I think that's good. And one of the pine cones, this one right here, looks like it needs just a tiny bit of trimming. All right, so now that we've got all of our pieces done, we can actually take our candle, and I think I'm going to trim off completely the bottom so that I can set it all the way down like that. So I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers and I'm going to hold on to the flame part. I'm going to take some glue and just run a tiny bit of glue here. I'm going to pick it up again by the flame and bring it in. And using these reverse tweezers can help you get small pieces lined up exactly where you want them. And I like that. I think that's very pretty. Then I'm going to take my greenery and I'm going to bring it where it's out a little bit wider than I had on the other card. So I'm going to put glue right here on the edge and stick right there. And same with this one. And then for these two pieces, and then I dropped one on Toby. Oh, that happens. This one I want it to kind of fan down like so. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this. Let that one come down. You know what? I think I want this one here. And this one here. I got a little bit of glue right there, so I'm just going to grab one of my little homemade alcohol wipes that I use all the time. Get that glue up off of the surface. Dry it. And if you're wondering about my wipes, they are simply the Equate sensitive wipes, and they're 72 in a pack, and I just pour rubbing alcohol into the container when I open it, and it gives me that beautiful alcohol wipes. So I'm going to lay one pine cone here and one here. And then I want this bow to kind of connect the two like that. Isn't that gorgeous? And I think I like leaving it black. So that's what we're going to do with this one. So I'm going to take my pine cones. I'm just putting glue on one end because I want them to look a little dimensional. And I'm pulling up on it as I glue it down. So it has a little bit of a curl there. You can also use your bone folder and do the same thing. Turn it over and just curl it a little bit like that. And it will give you that same effect. So I'm going to put glue here. And glue that down. I just love this set. I think it's so pretty. All right, now we're ready to drop our bow in. And I think I'm going to pop this up on a mini dimensional. So I'm going to use a couple of my minis right down the middle. Just like that. And I'm going to set that bow in like so. I did come down a little bit further than I needed to. We can pull that one out. We don't need him. Should have just did the one. Okay, there is our lantern. So now we're ready to adhere our mat onto our black card base. Let's go ahead and crease our furniture card. Get that score line a good finish so that it lays down. And look, that's even pretty just on there like that. But when you put this down, and this is so pretty because it just really, putting that on a black background, it really helps that paper to just pop. And I'm going to use another piece of black. And I'm going to cut it. I think I might I want it to be a little bit less than this one was. So this one is 3, 3 1/4. So I'm going to do this one 2 3/4. 3 1/4. 3 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4. And this is the piece that we are going to emboss. So I need to decide which one of my embossing folders do I want to use. Thinking I might use the exposed brick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up on the line, just like so. Close my folder. Let's go ahead and grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And for this one, I only need 2 plates, which is my number 1 plate and my number 4 plate. And the embossing folder with the cardstock gets sandwiched between the two. Then we have this beautiful piece that is beautifully embossed. Isn't that gorgeous? And now we're going to come back over and we want to adhere this piece to the bottom here. But before we go any further, I want to decide which label. The Christmas labels are so pretty, and I want to make sure I have room to use one of these to put a sentiment in it. I believe this is the die for this one. Yes. So I just need to decide how I want to do this, and I've got an idea, but let's go ahead and finish putting this together. I'm gonna put glue on the back of this. Then I'm going to put this down to the bottom, getting my margins about the same all the way around. Give it a press like that. Now this piece, can you believe that? That's from a scrap and it looks like it's going to fit perfectly. So let's run this through our die cut machine. Or do I want to stamp first? I think I'm going to stamp first. And for this, I'm going to use my Versamark ink because we're going to heat emboss this. So I'm going to bring up my little essential kit, and I'm going to go ahead and prep my piece of paper, cardstock, anti-static powder, that will brush off after we do our heat embossing, and I need a stamp block. And I'm going to ink this up really good. And actually stamp it on just a piece of scrap paper. Then ink it again. I like to do this a couple of times when it's a brand new stamp. Let's try that again. I'm going to sit this down just like so pretty. It's definitely showing. That's a good thing. And now we're going to grab some white embossing powder and take a hold of this with my little reverse tweezers. Like so. And before I heat set this, I'm going to take a little brush and just clean off anything that looks like it shouldn't be there. Then I'm going to bring up our heat tool. This is my Stampin' Up! Heat tool and has two settings. And for heat embossing, we're going to put it on 2. And I'm going to let it warm up just for a minute. All right, so we have that all heat set. We do have a little bit of embossing powder right there. I'm going to see if I can scrape that off with my sand eraser. That looks pretty good. Okay. So now we're going to take our die and we're going to lay it down so that our words are encircled. Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine up again. Number 1 plate. And then these plates, I'm going to lay that down. I do think this is going to need a little something to hold it in place. So I'm going to use one of my Post-it flags. That's not sticking. That's not good. Pretty. That is so pretty. I love it. These dies are spectacular. So now we can bring this back over. I'm going to bring this down to the bottom as far as I can. And then I'm going to put this at the top, just like that. Is that not gorgeous? So I'm going to pop all of this up on dimensionals. So I'm going to put 3 dimensionals across this one. And this one, I'm going to run about 3 dimensionals straight up the middle. You know, it's always so much fun when Stampin' Up! Comes out with new products, a new catalog, and you get to play with all of this pretty stuff. If you have ever thought about becoming a demonstrator, you don't have to do what I do. You can be a hobbyist and just get the discount for yourself. And it is just a wonderful way to get a head jump on ordering, because we get to order an entire month before the regular people get to. That's so that we can get our stuff and work with it and bring y'all really cute ideas. Let's tuck that under just a bit. So pretty. I love that. Now we're going to take the whole thing and put it onto our card base. I'm going to use glue. Making sure that my card's opening on the right side. And how gorgeous is that? Now I do want to bring in some gems. I'm just not sure which ones. These are the iridescent foil gems. I think they'll be beautiful on here because it will really bring out that gold. So I'm going to open these, and I like to open my gems like this. Oops, I picked up a little closure on my scissors. I like to cut right up the side like that, and then that allows me to just slide my gems out like this. For me, it just works so good because I can bring it out, get what I need, and then put the rest of them back. It's just a neat way of doing this. So I'm going to come up and grab one of the small ones. I might even take, let's see, let's grab this one. I'll put that over the flame. I think that's pretty. And I'm going to grab one large one and put it right here. And I think that's all this card needs. We already have a bow with our paper, and I love a pretty paper bow. They are so, so pretty. So let's slide this back in. Now the only thing we need to do is find something for our inside. And I am going to, I think what I want to do inside is just a walled wheat. We're going to cut this down to 5 1/4. 4. I might even use that down here on the bottom. Isn't that pretty? So let's find us a, how about celebrate the holidays in all the ways? That's pretty. Hope your season is filled with magic. That would be cute. Merry Christmas to you. Celebrate the holidays in all the ways. I think that's the one I want. So I'm going to stamp this right about here. I am going to glue this down right here just for some emphasis. We're going to stamp this in the VersaFine Onyx Black. Grab a stamp block. Let's ink it up. I might want to stamp again just to make sure. Beautiful. And right about in the center, like so. I'm going to give that a press. Ah, so pretty. So, so pretty. And then I'm going to glue this to the bottom. And if you have any hangover, just take your scissors and off. Sometimes your smaller ones will allow you to get in there a little bit better. Wasn't much, but it was just a tiny bit. Now we can bring this back over and put this in side of our card. So again, liquid glue. And oops, glue everywhere. So I'm going to lay this in. I'm very mindful of my margins. Just like that. And this card is done. Isn't that beautiful? I love the way it turned out. I think it's very festive. And I really think I like it better than I did this one. Yeah, I definitely do. So these are, I mean, this is a wonderful set. So many different things that you can do with it. And I love the lantern, the light, and it's beautiful because it's called Light the Year. And I just love the fact you've got some mistletoe in here, the candles, the lanterns. You've got some beautiful sentiments. This one would have been pretty inside. Wishing you peace, joy, and light. That would have been real pretty inside. But kind of kept with the theme of the Christmas labels, and I like it as well. So two beautiful bundles that will be available on September the 3rd. So mark your calendar for that day. That's when the new mini catalog will go live. And if you are a regular customer of mine, you should be receiving your catalog sometime before September 3rd. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, for watching this tutorial, for always supporting me in everything I do. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring honor and glory to our Lord and Savior, Jesus. He is worthy. So until next time, know that you are loved. Bye-bye.